For women, having a baby is considered completely normal, but this story is about a man who somehow ends up getting pregnant himself. Serge is a news anchor living in Russia with his wife Diana. For the past 2 years, they've been trying to have a child, but nothing has worked. At the start of the movie, Serge talks to a therapist about the stress this has caused. The therapist asks him some personal questions about his private life. Serge, a little proudly, says that he and his wife are together almost every night, yet Diana still isn't able to conceive. They even tried changing locations, thinking maybe the environment was the problem, but nothing changed. The therapist then says something strange. She tells him that the way he's thinking might soon turn into reality, so he should be careful. Serge doesn't really understand what she means, but he doesn't question it. On his way to work, Serge calls his friend Zora, who is a lawyer. Zora has lost his last 8 cases in a row and is struggling financially. He already has 2 daughters, and now he and his wife are hoping for a son. After the call, Serge reaches his TV studio and starts the show with his co-host. Meanwhile, Diana is at an art exhibition where her photographs are being displayed. As usual, Serge is late. When Diana calls him, he lies and says he's already in the car and will be there in 5 minutes. But when he steps outside, he sees that his car has been towed because it was parked in a no parking zone. Serge knows Diana will figure out he lied, so instead of going to the art exhibition, he goes to a bar with Zora. While they're talking, Zora shares some big news. His wife is 1 month pregnant.
Zora is confident it will be a boy. He explains that he wore his special shoes during sex. In his family, there's a strange belief that if a man wears those shoes, the baby will always be a boy. According to him, that's how he, his father, and his grandfather were all born. The next day is Valentine's Day. Serge and Diana visit the place where they first met 5 years ago. They promise each other that one day they'll come back there with their children. Before heading home, Serge buys a pair of wool shoes. That night, after everything is over, he takes the shoes off and holds them close. He quietly hopes that this time, things might finally change. About 10 days later, Serge is hosting a segment at the studio about a chicken named Sonia. Sonia is known for predicting soccer match results by laying eggs. People believe the number of eggs she lays matches the number of goals the winning team will score. While reading the news on air, Serge suddenly feels sick and throws up. He apologizes to everyone, takes a moment to recover, and then continues with the show. Up to this point, Serge still didn't understand what was really happening to him. One day, while shopping for everyday groceries, his eyes stopped on a shelf filled with different kinds of pickles. Normally, he hated sour food, but that day he felt like he could finish an entire jar by himself. When he told Zora about it, Zora laughed and joked, "What, are you pregnant or something?" That joke suddenly reminded Serge of the strange shooting star moment. A thought hit him. Maybe this wasn't a joke after all.
That night, Serge took Diana's pregnancy test kit out of the closet and decided to check for himself. When he saw 2 lines on the test, he first assumed it meant negative, but that's when the real confusion started. When Serge told Diana that he was going to be a parent, she thought he had cheated on her and that another woman was carrying his child. But when she realized that Serge himself was the one who was pregnant, she got even angrier. She thought either Serge was joking or had completely lost his mind. Serge wanted Diana to be happy, but something like this clearly needed time to sink in. That evening, Serge's parents and Zora's family came over for dinner. At the right moment, Serge told everyone that he was pregnant. The room went completely silent. Everyone calmly tried to explain that it wasn't possible, that something like this couldn't happen. Without saying a word, Serge got up and stormed out. After he left, his father shouted at his mother, blaming her pregnancy yoga from years ago for messing something up. He even said their son had turned female on the inside and sarcastically told her to go do yoga again. The next morning, Serge picked up a pregnancy book and started matching his symptoms with what he read. He pushed everything else aside and focused fully on preparing for the baby. After doing the math, he figured the baby might arrive in October. He quit smoking and started eating even more pickles. Over time, Diana slowly began to accept Serge's pregnancy and started taking care of him. By the 4th month, Serge's belly was clearly showing. He went to pregnancy classes every day, but acted like he was just there to support his wife. No one asked him anything strange, assuming he just wanted to understand what his wife was going through. His family knew the truth, but Serge decided it was better to keep it hidden from the outside world. In the 5th month, he went to a gynecologist with Diana for the first time, But the moment the doctor realized that Serge, not Diana, was pregnant, the doctor refused to examine him. They visited several other doctors after that, but none of them were willing to treat Serge as a patient. Finally, one day they met Dr. Tikhonov, who had opened his clinic 2 months earlier and hadn't seen a single patient yet. How will the clinic run without patients? Thinking this, the doctor finally agreed to take Serge's case. He asked Serge to lie down on the delivery bed, but poor Serge got confused. He had no idea how he was even supposed to lie down. The next day, when Serge reached work, he found out that Zora had sold his pregnancy story to a TV channel for money. Now it was being shown everywhere. As the news spread, people became deeply curious about the story of a pregnant man. Overnight, Serge became famous around the world.
Serge was furious with Zora because he had always wanted to keep this truth private. On streets and buses, people stopped calling him by his name and started calling him the pregnant man. They stared at him like he was something strange, which made him feel even worse. He yelled at Zora for what he had done. But Zora had no regret at all. Instead, he said he had even bigger ideas that could make them both very rich. At first, Serge shouted at him and clearly said he didn't want to earn money by selling his pregnancy or using his unborn child. But once his anger cooled down, the idea of money didn't seem that bad anymore. From that day on, he started appearing on TV shows and programs as the pregnant man. Slowly, he began doing ads for pregnancy-related products too. Within weeks, his popularity shot up. Wherever he went, media and cameras followed him. Even his family members started getting interviewed. One day, while he was sitting in a restaurant, a gay couple came up to him. They wanted to know how a man could have a baby. Serge himself didn't really know how he became pregnant. Still, he casually gave them advice, saying they should try wearing shoes while having sex at night. Seriously. At his next doctor visit, they found out Serge was having a baby boy. Looks like the shoes actually worked. As soon as he stepped out of the clinic, reporters surrounded him again. He got so caught up answering questions that he didn't even notice Diana had been left behind. After becoming famous, he had almost stopped showing Diana the same love and care as before.
Not long after that, Serge even got his own TV show, where he started giving advice to women on how to be better mothers. Zora made a lot of money from the show, but as Serge started getting more work, he slowly grew distant from his wife and family. For one episode, Serge invited his whole family to a restaurant and asked them to talk about his pregnancy on camera. But Diana, already angry, yelled at the cameraman and walked out. After she left, the rest of the family also stood up and left, and Serge was left sitting there alone. Not long after that, a fraud case was filed against Serge. He was accused of faking his pregnancy and making money by fooling people. At the first court hearing, Zora could barely say a few words, while the opposing lawyer spoke with confidence and impressed everyone. He presented Serge's bank records to the judge, clearly showing how much money Serge had made after the pregnancy story became public. At home, Diana asked Serge to stop all of this and return to a normal life, but Serge angrily shouted at her instead. At the second hearing, Zora brought Serge in front of the judge and showed everyone his belly. He also submitted an ultrasound report as proof. To prove Serge was lying, the opposing lawyer called Serge's gynecologist to court. He argued that since Serge was the doctor's first patient, the doctor had very little experience handling such a strange case. Then he showed a research report in which many experienced doctors clearly stated that it is impossible for a man to become pregnant. It seems those doctors had never heard the shoes story. By the end of the hearing, it looked like Serge was going to lose the case. One day, after returning home from an interview, Serge found that Diana had left the house. He was completely broken. He realized that he had treated Diana very badly for a long time. There was only one way to earn back her trust. He had to quit all this and start living like a normal person again. At the next hearing, Serge did not show up in court. Zora panicked, but still gave an emotional speech, calling Serge a great mother. Hearing this, the people in the courtroom stood up and applauded. Just then, the judge received a video sent by Serge. Without thinking much, Zora allowed it to be played in court. But as soon as the video started, Zora felt the ground slip beneath his feet. In the video, Serge said that his pregnancy was fake, and if it had hurt or misled anyone, he was truly sorry. He also apologizes to Diana, who stood by him through everything. After hearing his honest confession, the judge finds him guilty and fines him 1 million rubles. The people who trusted him and supported him feel disappointed. After that, Serge meets Diana at their favorite place and sincerely apologizes for being a bad husband. Diana forgives him, but at that moment, Serge realizes that the baby might be ready to be born.
He is rushed to the hospital where the doctors successfully deliver the baby through a C-section. Serge apologizes to his entire family for how he behaved over the past few months and says that he chose love over fame. Soon after, Diana walks in holding the baby and places him in Serge's arms for the first time. The story then jumps ahead 3 years. Diana is showing her photographs at an art exhibition. Their son is now older and is playing with Zora's daughters. A few months later, Diana stands by the same window and quietly wishes for twins. This time, 2 shooting stars appear in the sky. Her wish comes true, and surprisingly, both Diana and Serge become pregnant at the same time. Looks like those shoes deserve some credit. For more unique stories like this, subscribe to the Movie Nirvana channel and let us know in the comments which part of the story you liked the most.